Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Prince Automation Destination. So today we are going to talk about another interesting topic, that is Java collections. So we have started this series with introduction to Java collections in the last lecture, where we discussed about what is Java collection, what is the need of Java collection, and what are the different type of collections. Though I'll be quickly covering it again at high level, what is a Java collection or introduction to Java collections. So Java collection is very important topic in the Java, and it is widely being asked in the interviews, and it is widely being used during the coding as well. So it is very important topic to understand for everyone working in the industry using Java, right? So what is the agenda for this particular series? So agenda of this particular series is we are going to discuss about introduction to Java collections, which we have already covered in the last lecture. So I'll be like quickly covering it again, right? And then we are going to discuss about various implementation of list, set, and map, which are like three collections in Java. List is one collection, set is another, and map is the third one, right? So these are the interfaces. Corresponding to these interfaces, we have implementation provided by Java, that is ArrayList, linked list in case of list. For set, we have hash set, linked hash set, and tree set. And for map, we have hash map, linked hash map, tree map. Though they are like multiple implementation, but we are going to focus on these implementation because these are widely being used during automation. So later we are going to talk about sorting of collections as well using comparable and comparator. So we will be discussing about the comparable and comparator as well as part of this series, right? So let us quickly recap what we covered in the last lecture. So what is Java collection? So Java collection is nothing when we want to organize the data under one umbrella or under one unit. So we have one provision, that is collection. So using collection, we can store multiple data under single unit, right? So for example, we have integer, we can store int a equal to 10, but what if I want to store multiple integers? I want to store age of people, I want to store name of people. So how I will store? So that is possible using the Java collections. So as I discussed, like we have list, set, and map, and in these collections we can store heterogeneous as well as homogeneous data. Heterogeneous is different type of data, meaning we can store integer, string, or other type of data within the collection, but this is not recommended. It is recommended to use only homogeneous data, meaning we should store only one type of data in one particular collection. So let us quickly try to understand the hierarchy. So we have iterable interface at the top, and collection is another interface which is extending this iterable. Then we have set, list, and queue. So queue is out of scope as it is not mostly used in automation, but in case you want me to cover, I can cover it, right? So please provide a comment for the same, right? So in list, as I mentioned, this is a interface. So iterable is an interface, collection is another interface which is extending iterable, and then list is another interface. So these are all like interfaces, right? Now when we work in Java, interfaces are nothing but these are just declaration of methods. So we have the method signature only, right? Method declaration, I mean. So to provide the implementation or to provide the definition to those methods, what we need to have concrete classes. So we have multiple classes which are implementing list, but we are going to cover array list and linked list because these are widely used during the test automation. Similarly, when we want to store the values in the set, so we have set interface, and we have like multiple classes, and we are going to cover hash set, linked hash set, and tree set as well. So tree set also will be covering, right? So list is used to store the duplicate elements. So suppose I want to store the name of employees of a organization. So what I want is I want to store the duplicate name. So for example, there can be Prince, multiple employees with name Prince. So I want to keep a store of that. So in that case, I'll be using list. But what if I want to store only the unique name, right? I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to be bothered about like whether like how many name of Prince name employee are there, right? But I want to get a single count. So in those cases we use set. So set is to uh, like store the unique values. So we will try to understand both the cases in this series, I mean, right? Then coming to map, map doesn't fall under iterable, so we cannot utilize the methods of iterable, right, for map for the purpose of iteration. So map is an interface, though it falls under Java collection framework itself. And then we have abstract map, which is a class providing the partial implementation. Why I'm saying partial implementation? Because this is abstract map. So when there is a abstract keyword, right, it means that this particular class will have provided the implementation of some of the methods available in interface, but it should have kept some methods as unimplemented or abstract, right? So why? Because it would have given the liberty to hash map, linked hash map, and tree map to provide their respective implementation. So map is the interface, abstract map is providing implementation, and we can say partial implementation. So for rest of the methods which are not implemented in abstract map, so hash map, linked hash map, and tree map would be implementing them depending on their need, right, as per their logic, right? So as I mentioned that in today's lecture we are going to talk about list, and under list we are going to cover array list. So list is a one type of collection in Java to store the list of elements. So as I discussed, I want to store, for example, list of names or list of age, right? I want to store age of employees. I want to store name of employees, right? So for those purpose, we use the list interface, right? And under list, as this is the interface, so we have two concrete classes that we are going to cover as part of this series: array list and linked list. So array list is based on the array, dynamic array, right? So in case of array we have the fixed size, but in case of array list we don't have the fixed size, and as we add the values into list, its size grows automatically, right? While linked list is based on the doubly linked list data structure. Okay, so in the next lecture we'll be covering the linked list as well, right? Now I have refined it further for the list only, this diagram. So we have iterable interface. So this iterable interface has few methods that we will be discussing and useful for the iteration. Then we have collection, which is another interface, so it would be having its own methods, right? And list has its own method. So all these methods are declared because these are interfaces. Now ArrayList would be implementing all the methods of iterable, collection, list, and yeah, iterable method. So for example, iterable has let us say two methods, collection has let us say three methods, and list has three more methods. So 2 3 5, 5 plus 3 8. So 8 methods array list would be implementing, right? Similarly, linked list would be also implementing. So array list would be implementing based on array concept, sorry, and linked list would be implementing based on the doubly linked list concept, right? So to refine it further for the array list, so we have iterable, which is the interface, then we have collection, we have list, and array list, right? Now as we have understood that this is the hierarchy of array list, let us try to understand it from the programming side. So I have created one basic Maven project wherein I have created one main method. So what I'm going to simply use, so I'm simply going to, first of all we need to understand how to initialize the list, right? So as you know that in Java we cannot create object of interface. So what we need to do, we need to create the object of class. So as we are going to discuss about array list, so let us create the object of array list, right? So this is how we create the object of it. And now we have created the object, so we need to assign it to some value. So what we can do, we can either create like this array list and list of names, and I'm doing the assignment, right? But here it is saying angle bracket, so we can use without angle bracket as well. So let me remove this angle bracket, right? So this is very generic way of initializing the elements, initializing the array list. So as you see that I can define like this, but I can define like this as well, right? Why? Because list is the parent and array list is the implementation of this class. So as per Java concept, we can provide reference variable as parent, and we can create object of child and provide it to the provide the reference variable as parent, right? So this is what we have done. So we just discussed that we can store heterogeneous data. So we are going to discuss about that part. What is that heterogeneous data? Dot add, and let us say 32, right? Now if I will try to print this particular list, so what will happen? So let me run it. So we'll see it will print the prints as well as 32. So we were able to store like heterogeneous data, but it is not recommended because we will have typecasting error and all. So what is recommended? So we are recommended to use a generic, right? So what do we mean by generic? So we should store a specific type of data type. So let us say I want to store names of employees. So for that purpose, because names used to be in string, so this is how I need to provide a generic. Similarly here also we need to provide a string, right? And now you will see that it is giving error because it is expecting string, but we have provided integer, right? So what we are going to do, let us say I'm going to provide Amit. Now if I'll run, so you see that we are able to like print the values of employees, right? So this is one way of creating the list. So if there is a need of, for example, list of integers I want to create, so that is also possible, right? If in case I want to store list of integers, right? So that is also possible. So list of ints and new array list. And remember one thing, that on the left side it is mandatory to provide the generic, but on the right side it is not mandatory, right? So let me show you. List of ints dot add to list of ints dot add 5, right? So this is how we can store the integer. So now I'm going to print a list of integers, whatever been stored in the list. So I'm just printing the collection. So this is how we can print the collections, right? Now the next question is like how to for example, how to create a list of collection with predefined value. So that is also possible. So for example, I want to store list of employees, and I'm going to give it name list of employees, and what I want is new array list, and list dot of is one method that we can use. So I can provide Amit comma Prince comma Sumit, right? So this is how I am able to create the list with predefined values, right? So now I'm going to run it again. So this time I'll get Amit, Prince and Sumit as well, because I'm printing this particular list. So you see that we are able to create. Now the next question is, can we convert an array into the list? So that is also possible. So first of all, how we create an array. So how we define, as we discussed, that array is a fixed size, so we need to define the elements or the size, right? So let us say I'm going to provide 5 comma 6 comma 7 comma 8, right? So we have provided extra comma. So now how to convert this into list? So there is a arrays class. Using arrays.asList we can do this. So we need to simply provide array here. Now the return type of this as list is a list, right? Java util list, right? As we are providing integer, so what we can do, list of integer and list of integers. So this is how we can convert the array into the list. Now I'm going to print list of integers. So we see that we are able to convert an array into the list. So these are the concepts which would be useful for solving the coding problems as well, right? Now we have discussed about like adding the values into the list. We have discussed about how to initialize the list. Now the next step is how to iterate it, because how to iterate it, because when we will, because we have list of elements, so if in case we want to get the value, right, from the list, so what we need to do, we need to iterate them. So there are like multiple ways we can iterate it. So let us talk about iteration. So as we have already discussed that list falls under list extends collections, so there is another and collections extend iterable, right? So iterable has two methods. So we have first of all iterator, right? So using iterator we can iterate it. This is one way, right? So there are like multiple ways, so let us discuss the iteration using iterator. So how we can do use this? So first of all, let us say, let us consider the basic one. I'm just commenting everything here, right? And I'm going to use this first one, right? List of names, where we added Prince and Amit, right? So we are going to iterate this, right? So how we will do this? List of names dot iterator. So when we'll do iterator, it will say that you need to have some assignment on the right side. So what we need to do, we need to create iterator of string, because, and we can give it name iterator itself, right? So what we have done, we have converted this list of names into the iterator, and using this we are able to do this, right? Now in iterator we have some method iterator dot has next. So what does it do? It will check whether we have next element or not. If yes, then it will print. And there is another method in iterator, that is iterator dot next. So next will print the value, right? So what it will do, first of all, because we have converted list of names into iterator, this way we have created object of it, right? And now when we will try to print, it will print the values one by one. So previously it was printing in square bracket, but this time it will print one by one. So we'll see that. So you see that we can print the values, so we are able to extract. So this is one way. Second way is using the for loop, right? So we can use normal for loop, where we can define like this: I less than, and as we have list of names, so there is a size method in list, and I plus plus. Now what we can do, list of names dot get of I, because we discussed like array list is based out of array, right? So we can get the indexes dot, for example. So what will happen with this list of items dot get I? So list of items dot 0th index value will be printed, then first index value will be printed, right? Now we will see that we are again able to print, right? So this is iteration, sorry, using normal for loop. Now we are going to cover iteration using enhanced for loop, or some people say it like for each loop, right? So let us discuss about it. So in case of for loop, enhanced for loop, we simply need to provide the list of items on the right side, and on the left side what we need to provide, because list of names is what, this is string. So first of all we need to have string as a data type, and then we can provide the variable. So this is the variable, and this is the list of items. So it will serve list of items one by one to left side, and now we can use this particular variable, right? So if I'll like execute it again, I'll get the same values, right? So this is how we can iterate the list in multiple ways. Okay. Now as we have already discussed that we are going to discuss about the real-time application as well, where we can use this particular list, right? So let me quickly go to this particular site. So this is one site. So what I will do, I'll store the values of this last name of this particular column. So how we will do it? So first of all, um, we need to create a setup, basic setup. So I'm going to comment the rest of the site, rest of the section, right? So first of all, what we need to write web driver equal to new Chrome driver. We are going to cover with Chrome driver, right? And as you are aware, this Chrome driver would need one Chrome driver exe. For that purpose, we need to download it. So we will be using the like some automated way. So WebDriver manager.chrome driver.setup. Using this, we can download the Chrome exe, right? So in case you are not aware on this, I have already created a series on this WebDriver manager and Selenium manager. I'll be sharing the link of same in the I icon to understand how it manages the download, right, of driver. Now the next step is driver.get. So I'll provide the URL here, right? Now what is the next step? Let us inspect these elements. So this is a table. So what we'll do, we will need to find out the XPath. So table is the tag with ID equal to table 1. You see this is the table 1, right? I'm simply providing the XPath here. Now we got this. So what we need next, we need the body. We got the body. Now we need the rows, right? So what we will do, driver dot find elements, because you see that there are like multiple nodes, so we need to store it into the list. So using find elements, we can get the list of elements, right? So I'll simply provide by dot xpath, because we are using xpath. And what we will say, we will call it like list of web element, because it will store the list of web elements. So rows, we can say it name like rows, right? Once we have got the rows, so the next step is to get the column, right? Because under each row we have first column that we need to capture. So how we will do that? So we will again use the like enhanced for loop. So I'll be keeping web element on the left side, and I can give it name row, and on the right side we have rows. So one by one, rows will serve the value to row, and row will have the value, right? Now what we need to do, we need to again use driver dot find element by dot xpath. So we can find element from the element, right? So we got one element, so using element itself we can again find it. So what we need the td. So this particular element, whatever the row is, right? So we need to use row actually here. We don't need to use driver, right? Because we got the element, and from this element we are further trying to get its child element. So this is how we can do it. Now what we next we need the get text, because this is the text. And now what we want is, as per the initial requirement, we want to store this. So in order to store this, what we need a list. So I'm going to create list of string, because these are the string values, and list of last name and new array list, right? So list of names. So how we can do this, list of names dot add, right? So what we have done, we first of all we got the rows, and we are iterating the rows element, and from this row element we are trying to find the child element by td. This is the first element, and from that we are getting the text, and now we are storing the text one by one into the list of last names list, right, which we have created. Now at last we are going to print this. Okay, so there is a minor miss. I'm going to use the driver.quit as well, so that it will close the window. So let me run it once again. So we'll see that a Chrome window will launch, and it will enter the URL, and then it would have stored the values. So what we have done, so we are able to store Smith, Batch, Do, and Conway. Let us confirm the same. So what are the values? Smith, Batch, Doe, and Conway, right? So we are able to store the values into the list, and we are able to print the values as well. So this is how we can use list, array list, I mean, in the test automation framework. This is how we can initialize, this is how we can add the values, and we can, like, there are like multiple operations we can perform in list that you can explore. So we discussed about add operations, so you can use I mean remove as well to remove the values. So they're like multiple operations. So how to check that? So simply you need to do one thing, list of names dot. So these are the methods which are available in the list. So we discussed about size as well, right, for the iteration purpose, right? So this is what I wanted to cover as part of current series in the current lecture, I mean. So in the next lecture I'll be discussing about linked list, and then we will be jumping onto the set, and later we'll be discussing about differences between linked list, array list, and set as well, right? So this is it from current lecture. Thank you for watching and have a great day. I would request you to please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.